used to chew when I had like a bad gum chewing habit is extra, the bright green one. That's the best gum. Alright, so I'm going to talk about a few of my favorite addiction fiction movies. Okay, I think none of these are based on actual human beings, okay? If you can find it in your heart to give me a like, subscribe to my channel, or comment. I love when I get comments. Like, I'll just be sitting there like at my phone, and my daughter or my fiance will be like, I'm like, I gotta comment. Anyways, you guys, we close on our house tomorrow morning, so this is the limbo that I hate. Like, almost everything is packed. I have nothing. I can't get into anything. It's just awful. I hate moving. I hate it. I will be glad when this is over. Alright, so there's no like little lights behind me. I can't film downstairs. There's still this stupid, you can hear it, I'm sorry, they're building something out behind here. I'll be glad to be away from this shit. But anyways, they plowed the whole field behind my house down, and they just moved dirt around all day. They've been moving dirt around all day for months. I don't get it. There's no signs saying what they're building. Probably more houses, I guess. I don't know. Alright, so addiction fiction is my jam. I watch a lot of addiction fiction movies, shows. I read a lot of addiction fiction books. And sometimes I'll do like addiction nonfiction too. But these are some of my favorite drug movies, addiction fiction movies. Actually, one of these is loosely based on the guy who wrote it, the guy who wrote the book's life. So, we'll get to that later. Spun, S-P-U-N, Spun. Spun is based on a crystal, like not kids, they're adults, crystal meth. When it first got big, like out, I think the Southwest is where crystal meth like really hit big. It's about a guy who got bad into his habit. He was like, I think probably going to college and stuff, and he never did, but his girlfriend did. She went off to college, and in his head they're still together, but she thinks differently, right? Because she knows he's just like so gone. I think the main guy's name is Jason Schwartzman, but I might be wrong. It's got John Leguizamo, Brittany Murphy, and the actress from American Pie, the blonde one. It starts with an M. I can't think of it right now. And it's crazy. Like, John Leguizamo is the low-level drug dealer, and they live in like shambles. And so the main character, that's where he goes to get his drugs, and that's kind of where you see most of the action is in this like disgusting drug house. One of the worst parts of that movie, and one of the parts that sticks in my head, is when he goes to like a strip club and he picks up a girl. I think he knew her before, like I think they probably went to high school together or something, and he brings her back to a hotel. So there's trigger warnings. These are addiction fiction, so these are any kind of trigger warning. If you can't handle ties her up, like, consensually. They're like doing drugs, and then he ties her up. She thinks just, just for that episode, but he gets like a phone call, and he's like, oh man, I gotta go right now. And he leaves her tied up while he thinks he's just gonna go run like a quick little errand or something, some emergency. I can't remember, something about drugs probably. And he puts a CD on for her, and she's like, no, but she's got like a gag. She's like, no, untie me. And he's like, no, I'll be right back. He puts the CD on, and as soon as he walks out the door, the CD starts skipping, and he does not come back. So she is holed up in this apartment or hotel, I think for days, and on the CD player is a CD that's skipping the whole time she's like that. It's heavy. It's a nightmare. So anyway, that's like the only meth movie I have on here. If you have a meth movie that you can recommend, I don't know that there's a lot of them, It's the only one I can think of right now. Trainspotting, old favorite. Trainspotting is a heroin movie in Scotland, and this is like where I just fell in love with Ewan McGregor's acting. Like, I love Ewan McGregor. I'll probably do a video just on Ewan. Him and his friends, they're kind of young, probably like early 20s, because they're getting into bars and stuff. They play soccer or whatever it would be called over there. I think it's football over there. And they're all getting into heroin. It's getting big in Scotland at the time. So they're all doing it except one of their friends. He's actually taking his soccer seriously, or his football seriously, and he has a girlfriend. So he doesn't get involved in that originally. Well, that one, we'll call him like the goodies, the jock, okay? The jock had made a movie with his girlfriend, like a explicit movie with his girlfriend on VHS, because this movie is made in the 90s. And so he puts it in a VHS case, but doesn't label it. He puts it in like another, I think it was like labeled another, like a soccer game video or something, because he wants to hide it, Well, the friends end up borrowing that movie or finding it and taking it. So when his girlfriend finds out that he lost that movie, she freaks out. Because now there's essentially a porn of her and him. They don't know where it's at. She dumps him. He loses it, and then he asks his friends to let him start using drugs with them. And I think they're like, no, bro, don't do it. But he wants to, and he does it with them. This is kind of even like the subplot, the main plot. It's hard for me to tell you, because even though I've watched this movie 3,000 times. Anyways, so she dumps him. The jock gets into drugs, and then they all find out that like AIDS or HIV is rampant because of all the needle sharing. And Ewan McGregor's character, he's not the jock. He gets clean for a little bit, and he's living with his parents, and so they all have to get tested for HIV. And Ewan McGregor's character has been doing heroin for a long time, sharing needles, just So of course he feels so much guilt for like even making, you know, his friend be around this where he thought it was okay. And it's crazy. There's also some other plots going on. So like they want to rob they want to rob a they want to rob a higher up or something. I don't know, you'd have to watch it. I can't really explain it that well because I'm just not that good at explaining things. Requiem for a Dream. Requiem for a Dream is Jared Leto and Jennifer Connelly. Oh, that's crazy because Jennifer Connelly's in another one of these. So, yeah. Jared Leto, Jennifer Connelly. It is a heroin movie. They start out as like this good-looking couple, you know, but drug addiction just like ravages them and their relationship. And they were kind of like artsy. Well, she was kind of artsy and stuff, and so they end up going broke and having to do all this weird stuff for money. She ends up getting like back with an old flame or like an old ex who's much older than her to just to get money. And so, and then she joins like, well, I think that's at the end. She does have to do like sexual stuff for money to feed their habit. And I don't know. It's good. It's good, but it's brutal to watch too. Now, Cherry, I'm gonna look that up really quick because that was a book that I read. I think it's Nico. Yes. Okay. So, Cherry is by Nico Walker, and it says this is what the Goodreads. I think no, this is I don't know. It doesn't say what this is on, but Cherry is a 2018 debut novel by American author. Oh, it's Wikipedia. American author Nico Walker. It concerns an unnamed narrator's time in college as a soldier during the war in Iraq, and life as a drug addict and bank robber returning home from the war during the midst of the American opioid epidemic. The book and the movie were great. I read the book in 2 days, and then I made my fiance watch the movie with me, and it was one of those movies where he's like, why are you making me watch this? This is crazy. Yeah, so it's like he meets his love interest, I think before he goes to the war. So he meets her like in college or something, and they do drugs, but they're not over the top, I don't think, before he goes to war. And then he goes to the war, sees things he would never want to see, you know, just very traumatic experience. He gets back and kind of gets heavy into drugs, and she is too, but in the book, there is a few differences, because in the book, I think she was already kind of heavy into drugs before he got back too. I think in the book, it's not like him putting her onto drugs, you know. And in the movie, it looks a little more like that, but that's not the case because the book is real. So they're both, you know, down and out, and she kind of depends. She's actually a teacher, like a college teacher at this point, and he has to like go to her work and give her drugs in the middle of the day. And they're just strung out, and he starts robbing banks. And this, I think he wrote this in jail because he's a real person. Anyways, I highly recommend reading the book and then watching the movie on that one. isn't this a real story? I think this was based on a real story. So, the night before, like the trial or whatever, hearing or whatever it is, he is in a hotel room, and this dude can't even make it through the night. Like, he busts open the hotel bar. Okay, he had his room. He had the alcohol removed, but it was like an adjoining room. And if I remember correctly, but I might be wrong, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think he has like an adjoining room that he gets into, and then he raids that fridge. Gets so messed up. Mind you, I'm a recovering alcoholic, so I can see how this can happen. Like, there was nights where I was like, I cannot drink tonight. I can't drink tonight. And then I was like, I need a drink tonight. And then I would have 6 and be useless the next day. So like, anyways, tanked, completely tanked. There goes the trucks again. I'm so sorry. So he is tanked, and they have to like get him through this hearing. He has to be coherent through this hearing, but the hearing is like in an hour, and he is not able to form sentences. So they have to call in like his drug dealer or a drug dealer and like counter. Okay, the thing with uppers and alcohol is, alcohol is like, and uppers is, so it's like alcohol almost puts you to sleep, and then the upper would like wake you up, so they have to balance with drugs. They have to balance it out where he can not be up here and not be down here. Like, there's a thin line where he will be able to get through this hearing, and they do it. They, the drug dealer knows his shit. He gets him right to where he can function, get through the hearing. He's coherent. He can speak like a man. So he does get through the hearing. I can't remember what the results were, but it wasn't a worst case scenario. And then I think the other one I have on here, and I'll probably think of more and do another one of these, but the other one I have on here is called Shelter. It's so good, and you just don't hear about this one for some reason. It is Jennifer Connelly and Anthony Mackie. It says a homeless Nigerian immigrant, Anthony Mackie, and a junkie, Jennifer Connelly, band together for survival on the streets of New York. So, essentially, they're both kind of homeless, and what's crazy is I just read a book about homeless people in New York, homeless drug addicts in New York, and it was I'll tell you guys about that one, but they're both homeless, I think, in New York, and she is a drug addict. He's not. He really likes her. So they start dating, and in the streets, like, it's just safer if you are. It's never safe, but if you're a woman, according to like what I've read up on, and just seems like it would be so, but if you're a woman, you want to partner up, because it's so like your chances of getting sexually harmed or murdered are so high if you're just walking around alone. So you're kind of safer with a man. But anyways, he likes her and he pursues her, and they start dating, and they end up like breaking into houses, and it's so sad. Like, she falls in love with him, he's in love with her, and he has a condition. I don't know what his condition is, maybe like asthma or something that he needs his meds for, right?